It worked.
It did work.
Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land that hasn't seen me in, I don't know when the last time I even went live was. I'm guessing 6-7 months ago, maybe a year. I lost track. It's been wild, but I found this dude on TikTok that resonated with me, and his name is Brian Drew, and I just watched some of his videos. And I thought, man, this guy pays attention. He has critical thinking skills and discernment, and he speaks the truth. And I was just tired of doing YouTube videos and repeating the same thing over and over. And I was busy just trying to survive, like literally. I'll have to tell you all about what I've been through since you've seen me last. But I thought to myself, this guy has 15,000 followers on TikTok. He should have 215 or 315,000, and I want to help him do that. So here he is on my YouTube channel for my return here to YouTube. Welcome, Brian Drew. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. This is an honor. I appreciate that.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. So Brian and I talked a little bit before we did this interview. We talked on the phone, kind of got to know each other a little bit. And both of us have some things in common. Both of us started following the number 17 military intelligence dissemination information that started in October of 2017. And we've both been studying that, researching it, helping be, I guess you would say, digital soldiers, citizen journalists, sharing that information with our friends and our family and people that we don't know on the internet, and having to make it through that struggle, being the people that are sharing that information and have to suffer the consequences of being shadow banned and having our platforms removed and stuff like that, and persevering to keep going through it. So I thought we just this is like we were talking on the phone, and I said, we're not doing an interview, man. We're just going to get on here and talk and share our experiences. What we've learned from that time, October 2017 till now. And maybe talk about some of the things that we learned, because I'm just going to say it, we're way ahead of the curve on the information. And, some of the stuff that you figure out before other people do, when you tell other people, they just, especially if they're not a critical thinker, they just think you're batshit crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And they want to gaslight you and call you crazy and, all this stuff. And then a lot of that stuff that you tried to share with people over time has come to fruition and been proven beyond the shadow of a doubt. And it's kind of funny, Brian, I don't know if you've had this experience, but have any of those people that have tried to gaslight you or call you crazy about the things you're trying to share with them, once the information actually came out and exactly what you were saying came to fruition, has anybody called you or messaged you and said, hey, man, you were right, I apologize?
Actually, yeah, my sister. Yeah, my family was very, and still to some extent, they still probably think I'm a little crazy, but yeah, I would, share stuff with her, and she would kind of just, okay, whatever. Well, what if the 17, what if that's just, Operation Trust, or what if it's, you shouldn't say that, but what if she, what if they're there just to lull people to sleep? And, I would just still keep sharing stuff with her. And then one day she called me, she was like, Brian, did you know that blah, blah, blah? Like, she just started telling me stuff, and I'm like, welcome aboard.
We're glad to have you.
Exactly. Yeah. Welcome to the family. Now you're part of the club of people that everyone else calls batshit crazy, but right now we're kind of batting 1,000 with what we've been telling you what's going on. So it was cool to see her, and it wasn't me trying to shove things down her throat. And I think that's what a lot of people get. There's this cognitive dissonance within our culture, and where about the CIA, and everything is a conspiracy theory, especially after what happened with JFK, them coining the phrase.
1967.
Yep. And then you'll see different things in movies where they always show you the truth. They always tell the truth, but it's always in a platform of like in Hollywood where they show some guy that's just crazy and whatever, and he's the one that's telling the truth, so that people like, haha, and then they write off that stuff, even though they were the ones that told the truth. It's this whole it's
Plausible,
psychological.
plausible deniability is the
Yep.
correct term for that. Yep.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's a very they're very satanic in nature, where they have to tell you what they're doing,
yep.
and it's their, I don't know if you call it karma. I don't know if you. So I'll try to use different phrases so
No,
I,
yeah, it's
um,
fine, man. No, it's you call it Cabal, deep state, the Illuminati, whatever word you have for them. It's their
yeah.
religion. It's their cult.
Hmm.
Standard operating procedures where they think in their sick, twisted minds that if they give you the fair warning, which I learned that goes all the way back to Egypt, which is
Oh
basically
yeah.
their religion that they follow, and it's the Pharaoh's warning.
Yep.
So that's where the term fair warning comes from. But they do it in these like riddles and numerical uh, patterns and
Hmm.
stuff that's almost impossible to figure out until you get really good at it, and then it's like speaking another language. You just see it
Right.
immediately and you can protect yourself from what's coming, and I've learned to do that. So what you're saying is 100% right, man. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, that's cool. No, but they in their mind, if they tell you, and a lot of times they'll use Hollywood, they'll use like even like The Simpsons. That's been a big thing. They'll use things that people would just pass off, so that when we come out and say it, they're like, yeah, I think The Simpsons did it. You know what I mean? Like that, they
you,
just kind of.
you saw that in the movie, you saw that on a cartoon. That's you're watching these things and you're repeating what they're saying, and then
Yep.
that's yep,
Yeah.
it's like yep.
Well, and I think we're talking about how the world is since 17 came out in October 2017. Um, I think that people are a lot more awake. I think that for everyone that's saying that that was just the CIA doing their Operation Trust, where it lulled people to sleep. I get that maybe back in the day when they were posting, because they haven't posted in what, 2 years. It's been about 2 years since they've last posted.
Yep.
But if it was something that was just there for us to trust, oh, someone else is going to take care of it, we don't have to do anything, all that. I think that we would see them posting now more than ever,
Yep.
because this is the most critical time when we need to actually act. We need to go out, we need to vote, we need to do our due diligence, which is actually what they had said back in the day. It wasn't like trust. They did say trust the plan, but we didn't realize that part of their plan, or part of the plan, was to go dark and to make us feel like, okay, we got to take care of some stuff instead of having someone else do it for us like we were used to. We got to take back this country for our own sake, and not have someone else do it for us.
I agree, man, and I want to use this analogy, or I don't know what the word is, but uh, here's how I pictured in my head what they did. Like, say you go to a trade school and they teach you how to do all of this stuff, and then they go, okay, now you're going to work.
Yep.
Go do you. We taught you what we needed to teach you. You go do it, or you go to basic training or your AIT school or whatever in the military, and then you get done with that, and they're like, you are now on the road to doing it yourself. Go get the shit done.
Yep.
And it's up to you. We're not your helicopter parents. We're just the ones that have put our ass on the line to put this information out. And because they did, the national security laws and stuff like that, those people that are, what is it, 10 or less, but what, a couple civilians, but
Yeah, 2 civilian and the rest
yeah.
military.
And but the rest are all the highest clearance military intelligence that you can get, which is, I believe. So I had a secret clearance, and I remember filling out this. Well, it was like a book pretty much, and they go back and they talk to your elementary school teachers, and that's the first entry level clearance you can get. Secret is like nothing. I've heard stuff at air shows that they broadcast over the microphone or the loudspeakers that I had my secret clearance, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on here? I was not supposed to know anybody this." They're telling me there. So secret clearance is not even that big of a deal,
right?
But it goes like secret, top secret, and then a whole bunch of numbers and letters and stuff like that. And I don't quite remember if I saw the letter Q at the top or not. But I think some of them might have that highest clearance, whatever that is. And if they just come out and say, "Hey, this is exactly what's going on," they can go to Guantanamo Bay, or they can get the DHS watch list through the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, FISA Section 702. Like I would bet my life that that's what happened to me. I can't get any verification because every time I fill out a Freedom of Information Act request to get information on myself, they say we cannot give you this information due to its sensitive nature.
Wow.
So yeah, so, I mean so they gave me the answer right there.
Well, I mean, with military, this, everyone's kind of on a need to know basis. So I've had people that I know of in the military, they're like, yeah, none of this is true. We're not being told. It's like, well, yeah, because you're not supposed to be told. And everything's compartmentalized.
Yep.
And what I think that people have grown, because, back in the day, everyone's like, oh, and I don't want to rat out any truthers that some are even still doing podcasts or whatever. I don't want to talk bad, but there's some people that are like, oh yeah, I've got an inside source and I've got this top level inside source. But once you get critical thinking, it's like, okay, so if this person that you're saying is, this inside source, and they're telling you, knowing good and well that you're going to be telling your audience, however big your audience is, that could actually jeopardize the mission over this whole entire thing. They've gone so far to take down the cabal that you really think they're going to give you, which is why I think that everyone was given disinformation around January 20th of 2021. We were told, all the truthers, everyone was told, there's going to be mass arrests. There's going to, you're going to see, that's why everyone's at the inauguration. But I think that they did that so that the cabal would also hear that and think, holy crap, to try to take countermeasures. Then when nothing happened, they were like, okay, not realizing that part of the plan also was to install someone for another 4 years or however long it's going to be. They couldn't. Think of it this way: if Trump was in office now, there was no way that Russia could have disarmed Ukraine. No way, because the media would have called him Putin's puppet and all this kind of stuff. But now we have Biden in office, and he's not doing anything about the whole thing with Ukraine.
Yep.
And all these things, and we couldn't have the financial system collapse. If Trump was in office, so all the people that were so disappointed that didn't happen didn't see the bigger picture that was playing out. None of us did until the whole hindsight is 2020 kind of thing.
Yep. But, and that whole thing too. Okay, the Biden and Trump thing, that I think one of the biggest things that people don't realize. Well, no, let me backtrack a little bit before I talk about that. Well, you were just talking about how they said, all these arrests will happen, and then nothing happened. So surveillance technology is beyond what. Still, most people wouldn't even believe me if I told them. And I know beyond the shadow of a doubt everything that is possible because it's been used on me. So I have a personal experience with the types of surveillance that exist, and it's straight out of the X-Files. It's so they know military intelligence. They can see literally everything that's going on. And when they said all these arrests are going to happen and then nothing happened, what their goal was, they're watching all these people. They could see them mobilizing and preparing for movements. They're, some people are running or changing different things, and they can see who was preparing to combat that, and then go, oh, here we go. Target 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are for sure. They're reacting to this information we put out.
Yep.
It's it's a weird 5D chess strategy kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't see that that's how they're operating. It's like a reverse sting operation kind of thing. Like, we're going to allow you to do the things that we know that you're going to do, so we can prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that you're complicit in these crimes.
Yep.
That you're part of the club, and we need that in order to send you to Guantanamo Bay, Terra del Fuego, or what's the other one? Greenland. I don't know. There's 3.
Yeah, there's 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah, that are going on. That I think are going on. I'm pretty damn sure. I don't know beyond the shadow of a doubt, but.
Didn't Biden say he was going to shut down Guantanamo Bay? How come he hasn't been able to?
Yeah, exactly. And why did they put millions of dollars into it? And it looks like, instead of a small little military base, it looks like a college campus now.
Well, yeah, and they even have a Geritol ring, a wing of the thing for older people that are going to be in Gitmo.
Yep.
You have to wonder why.
A bunch of them are, yeah, especially the ones that we don't know their faces or their names. Those are the ones that are running things. The people that are truly in charge, we don't. And Trump said it. He said there's some very bad people, and you don't know who they are.
They don't want you to know. They would rather have the other people be out in the open. The Soroses, even I think there's people above, like Rockefeller and all of them, that are
100%, without a doubt. The people with the most power and influence. Think about it. And they don't reside in society. You'll never see their face. They're out on the top of a mountain, out in the middle of some nowhere, or an island or something like that. And they've got this huge ring of security, and they're going to just stay away because
they have their own dumb. I mean, there's literally cities underneath that we wouldn't even know existed, or would not even believe existed out there.
Yep. Okay, I won't get off track here, but no, what I was going to say about the whole Biden and Trump thing, I think what people they haven't processed the information yet, because they either haven't taken the effort to do the research persistently, day after day, to figure this stuff out, because you have to.
Well, people don't have time. That's the thing I think that's the beauty of it. The economy is so shot that people have to have, I even work 50 hours a week. Like, people make it to where they don't have time. So all they can do is just trust what they're being told on this box in front of them every night.
And try to survive. And that's actually the point that I've gotten to. That's part of the targeting. And, in Stasi Germany, they called it Zersetzung, which means decomposition or erosion. And they take away everything, and they make your life hell. And they get you to the point where all you can do is really just try to survive, and you don't have time to be doing all this research and be doing interviews or talks like this, and sharing this information. You're out mowing lawns, or say you get blacklisted, mowing lawns, replacing toilets, cleaning up properties, this and that, just to get the electric bill paid. And you don't have to be on some kind of watch list to be in that position. A lot of people are in that position because everybody's been to the grocery store lately. The video you posted on TikTok was hilarious, by the way. That lady at the grocery store, and she was like, "No, God, make it stop!"
But it's so true, and that's what makes it hilarious. It's like this is where comedy and reality sort of meet.
Yeah. No, I went through that yesterday. I went to the grocery store yesterday, and I was like, "Oh God." This was a whole day's work just to get not that many groceries. And then after that, you got to go fill up the truck. And then you're like, oh God, what do I do? I got to turn, I shouldn't even have my heater on right now. And then people are, they're focused on that, on survival, your natural, natural thing is to just survive and look after yourself. And they just don't have time to do all that. But I guess where I was going with that is, one thing I realized is there's I don't want to say two presidents because Biden isn't a president.
No, he
He
might be leader of the corporation, but not.
that's where so a lot of people, well, that follow me already know this, but we were never supposed to be a corporation in 1871. The United States was sold basically. We became a corporation, and we all got social security numbers, and that's our employee or our slave number. And we've been human trafficked since then. We're traded on the world stock market. You can look it up on the GMEI index and figure out what your USIP account value is, your bond value, and we're the most valuable things walking on the planet. I looked mine up. I found over 1,200 people that have sold me on the world market. I found their addresses, the names of their corporations, and what countries and what states. There was one over in Scottsdale when I was living in Avondale, which Avondale's on the west side of Phoenix, got Scottsdale's North Phoenix. And I found somebody who had traded me in Scottsdale, Arizona on the world market. I was going to go knock on their door and be like, "Sir, can you please take the shackles off? I'd like to be a free man." I mean, it's literally.
Or at least give me some money that you made off of me.
Exactly. Can I have some of that money you made off of my, my bond value? So, I mean, that's a thing. But the corporation who's been doing that and been trafficking us and using us as human monetary vessels went bankrupt in July of 2020. You probably know that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look up the court documents. The case was in Florida. It's the corporation of the United States of America, and they literally filed bankruptcy.
Yep.
And so it's the insolvent. What's the word when something no longer is what's the word I'm looking for?
Probably, I would say insolvent, or at least bankrupt anyway. But
bankrupt, whatever. They're not really a thing anymore. But they have residual power and capital that's still running their whole shit show.
Right.
And Trump has been, not just Trump, because it goes way back before Trump. We know that.
Yeah.
Has been doing everything they can to shut down that corporation, get rid of our Rothschild central bank dollar, the IRS, and all that. Take all that away, so we can get back to our constitutional republic and be free men and women.
Yep. Well, that's why people don't realize how important it was back in 2017 when Trump did the capitulation tour, when he went around, because what you're dealing with is a global cabal. It has nothing to do with the United States. The United States was, DC, the triad as far as the, Rome, DC, and London. But he had to go, and here's why I think that they want him out, not to get off subject, but with the whole capitulation tour, they capitulated to Trump and the military, not the United States.
Mm-hmm.
They capitulated to him, which I think that's why, for one thing, he's so, I don't want to say powerful, but
yeah, that's a word. Yeah.
But that's why he's also that much of a threat, and why it's like, so why do they hate him so much? Well, because if they can get him out of the way, their hope is to just go back to normal, how they had it before. But that was the whole part of the Great Awakening, is now that you have all the people, even though our judicial system is corrupt, our executive, like every single branch from local up to federal has been compromised. The only part that wasn't compromised was, well, there's parts of the military, but not the upper brass. But the biggest, and this is the video that you actually commented on to do the live, was the last one that isn't compromised is the court of public opinion.
No.
Where if you wake the people up, we're the ones that have, not to say that we're going to use them, but we're the ones who have the most, we're the biggest military. Let's face it. So, that's why they want to get rid of our means, our Second Amendment. But I think that was important for them to wake up the people slowly, where people, you're not starting a civil war. You're not, because if people knew every facet that they've been lied to about, I mean, just take, the whole 9/11 thing, just to explain to them everything that happened on that, it'd just be like deer in the headlights. They, but that's just one thing of everything. Medicine, or the fuel industry, where fossil fuels are actually there's plentiful amounts of oil. The earth recirculates and everything. People don't know that, but just everything. That's why it's taken so long to wake people up and to have them start. Once you get people to start critically thinking, you won't have to tell them everything all at once. they'll start questioning things on their own.
Yep. And you were talking about two-way thing that we have that capacity, but we're not going to need it because I think a lot of the like I'll just say it, the Q stuff. There goes my YouTube channel.
Sorry for your loss.
The military intelligence dissemination information program.
Yeah,
that's helped people start thinking. It's an asymmetrical warfare tool to help us combat the asymmetrical warfare that we've been put into, to use our brains and our systems and to get involved in those and change those and remove the people that have been operating those that take control over us and do it that way. Yeah. And to remove their assets. And we talked about this on the phone, that executive order that Trump signed, 13818. Mm-hmm. That I had a t-shirt made that said 13818 is great. And on the back it said declass FISA, and I wore it to the Trump rally, and I literally talked to people for 12 hours explaining. That's awesome. Both of those meant I lost my voice when I got home. But that, it's taking away their capital that they use to run this whole thing, because money fuels power, and to educating the citizens, which hopefully we won't be citizens anymore because that's our corporate term. Right. Educating the men and women, the free men and women, and fueling them with knowledge to protect them and to give them the power back. And that's really the way I think that we're doing. Not that I hope that is going to happen, but I see is happening right now. People are back over their school boards, their local institutions. They're realizing courts are banks, and that they profit off of us getting convicted. And I when I was talking to you, I said, when I started doing this, and I learned a lot fast. And I don't have any kind of filter. I just talk to anyone and everybody, people in the grocery store line, wherever, and I just tell them stuff that I've recently learned or whatever. And the initial reaction to what I was saying was I call it the fluoride stare. They just
I know what you're talking about.
Threw you a million miles away, and it's just like they either shut off or they turn into Agent Smith from the Matrix, and they start they get angry and aggressive, and I haven't quit doing what I was just talking about. I still do that with everyone. I don't care if it's somebody I'm working for. If they don't like what I'm saying, they want to fire me, fuck it, whatever, go ahead. I'm still going to tell you the truth. But the reaction that I get now is almost a complete 180. It's then it was like the large percentage of people would be the fluoride stare or the Agent Smith scenario. And now when I tell people, they're like, yeah, I've experienced this, or I've heard about this, and I've looked into this, and then they start telling me stuff, and I'm like, I know. But I'm glad that you know and that you figured that out. And it's literally the Great Awakening. It sounds like a catchphrase, but we're in a paradigm shift in the whole world. It's shifting from it's all these catchphrases, but it literally is going from dark to light. And
worldwide, I mean, how many countries have we seen where the people are revolting? They're finally saying enough with their government and everything.
And it's such a relief and motivation to keep going, and it's like a reward for all of that hard work that we've done. A lot of other people got started. It's like, why did I do this? I'm in this situation now, and and that's the reason. It's like the ripple effect. We've helped, wake people up. And now I don't have the capacity to be doing this full time or be going on talk shows all the time anymore. I'm literally just trying to survive and keep a roof over my head and eat.
Well, hopefully we're in the home stretch, because like you were saying, I mean, there's so many people that are waking up. So, I mean, hopefully we're kind of in the home stretch with, I don't know how many times you've heard nothing's happening. Well, a lot of little things were happening, and now we're here. And when you thought nothing was happening because you didn't see all the mass arrests or anything. It was, was it death by 1,000 cuts? where it doesn't seem like it's whatever, but here we are where the majority of people are waking up because it is hitting home, you know, it's hitting you, because you've been targeted. But even just the Joe Schmo that, just wants to raise a family, have
Yep.
groceries on the table, all that kind of stuff. Finally, it's hitting their doorstep. And I think that was part of the plan too. You can't change people unless they're personally affected.
100%
And
agree.
yeah, like one of the videos I did back in the day, it's almost like, because I smoke cigars. And if my doctor told me, look, Brian, you're going to have a heart attack. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I smoke cigars. It doesn't affect me. But God forbid, all of a sudden I do have a heart attack or something. That's the moment that I wake up
Mm-hmm.
and be like, okay, I need to change because it now has affected me. A lot of people, they see things on TV like, oh, well, that'll never make its way to my house. And then all of a sudden, guess what? It's right at your doorstep. And this uncomfortability, I think, is the thing that sort of it pushes that change.
And people, this is one of the things that people have the most visceral reaction to when I tell them. The good guys are partially responsible for some of our suffering.
Yep.
And it's like when you have to ground your kids because they're being shitheads, or if you get in trouble like in the military because you're not doing your job, or you're not doing, or in anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then you learn your lesson.
Yep.
And it had to be this way because some people just haven't been like shaken enough to wake the fuck up and realize, okay, there's something going on here. And if we continue letting things go down this slippery slope, we will be the CCP, or we will be a socialist country where we're standing in line for 3 hours to get an orange or a piece
Yep.
of bread. Or, if we don't take some kind of personal action, we can't just go to our cubicle. Nothing against cubicle people. I've done it. Yeah, and just say everything in my life is fine. I don't need to do anything. So I'm just agreeing with you 100%, man. What you just said, it had to be this way. And I'm sorry for the people that are going to have to go through some struggle for a short amount of time to be woken up. But I mean, not that I did it. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, people are like we've been shouting from the rooftops to get prepared. We don't know the time. We don't know. And all these accounts that are like, oh, on such and such a date. I'm so over dates.
Yeah, you can't get dates.
No, I think all of us have kind of learned, or hopefully
Yeah.
learned, where you can't go by dates. It's mostly just, events based. But anyway, and not to get super spiritual, but people don't realize even pain, like the way we were created as humans,
Mm-hmm.
they look at pain as a bad thing, but pain is actually a safeguard that God created us with. Because let's say you have an infection. Well, if you felt no pain, that infection would eventually kill you.
Yep.
So you have to feel that pain in order to put attention on a part of your body that you normally wouldn't if you hadn't felt pain or that uncomfortability.
And yeah, 100%. You grow through pain.
Yep.
And as much as I'm very upset that I was put through what I was put through for observing my constitutional rights and my freedom of speech and just being the person I am. But my entire life has been, I don't want to say destroyed, but it has been completely turned upside down. And I'm in a position that I should not be financially. But that being said, I'll keep going. I've lost loved ones. I had a house in California, I had some cars, money in the bank, beautiful wife that I love more than anything in the world. I lost all of that. Time with my kids. I have hardly ever been able to take them on a vacation or do things that normal people get to do. All of that has happened. But at the same time, there's a positive and a silver lining in everything. And I'm actually thankful that I've had this experience in my life because I've become the person that I am now.
I hear you, man.
I've become the person that I am now, and I've learned things that I never would have known. I've met people that I never would have met, amazing people that I call friends now, that some people don't even believe me when I'm like, yeah, that's a friend of mine. I can send them a message right now. Like Kathy O'Brien. I don't know if you know who she is.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I could send Kathy a message right now. She'll respond to me. John D'Souza, the guy they wrote the X-Files, the first season of the X-Files about, 25-year FBI agent that left when Comey became the director because he knew that he was corrupt, and
Mhm.
he was actually an investigator in 9/11. The list goes on and on of people that I'm friends with now that if this would have never happened, I still would have been, just kind of a normal. Well, I've never been really a normal dude, but I would have been just doing my thing, living my life, going to work, coming home, barbecuing with family, whatever.
But
And
eventually you would have lost it anyway. I mean, think about what the World Economic Forum was trying to do, what they're still trying to do, even though they know the playbook. So
yeah,
it's not like they can actually deter. They've been setting this thing in motion for decades, if not over a century. But you would have had a good life, an easy life to a
for,
certain point.
for a
But
while.
then, right, for a while, and then like we didn't realize how close we were to, like, what is it? Every empire has a lifespan of over like 200 and some years.
200 something years. Yep.
Yeah, where it goes from slavery to freedom to abundance to dependence back to slavery. We were so close because all the abundance we had in the 50s and everything, like it, everyone was kind of lulled. We got lazy
Yep.
and we didn't realize we were actually being fattened up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. How's this?
Um,
What's that saying? Good times make.
oh yeah, good times make weak men make hard times make strong men. It's this whole cycle. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Right
Thank you.
now we've got weak men because the media is saying that, oh, the patriarchy and white male, whatever,
Yeah.
you know, the toxic masculinity. Well, at the end of the day, we're seeing a lot of people even denounce that because they're like, women are created with this innate wanting alpha males. They want,
Mm-hmm.
they're not going to go for the beta male.
Yep.
But there's a lot of guys that think, oh, this is who I should be. Yeah, go for it. See how far that gets you, because you being the male feminist, yeah, that's not going to work out in the end. Yeah, she might like you at the beginning, but it's just, women are not created that way. It's just,
Nope.
sorry, I'm not being sexist. Just the way we're
Nope.
created.
They're gonna bang your alpha male neighbor, guaranteed.
Exactly. Yep. And then you'll
Sorry
be
for the
some.
So, not to you, but just the people out there. That's how it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's just the way society is. But even though you're mourning the life you did have,
Mm-hmm.
you were given a purpose that you didn't realize, that you were a journey that you didn't realize what that would cost you. But I think with all the people that you have helped open up their eyes to red pill people, someone had to do it. And it sounds weird, but I think God uses people that are strong, not even realizing how strong they are.
Yeah.
And so he uses people like that to do the work that he knows a lot of people couldn't handle. So
Yeah.
I in a way, I commend you, because you're able to handle a lot, even if it doesn't feel like it. You're able to handle more than what you think.
100%. And I actually, I pray. You know what's weird? The whole religion thing. We know a lot of religion was corrupted, the churches and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that. But I am a spiritual person, and I have come closer to God through this whole thing. And when I pray, I thank Him for all of the situations that I've been put into as learning experiences,
mm-hmm.
helping me become the person that I've become.
Yep.
And yeah, it's you get put in situations that you think are impossible, and it makes me think of basic training. Basically, it's like God's putting us through basic training. They give you impossible tasks that some of them you just can't complete, and those tasks you're given to teach you humility and to stay humble and know that you can't do everything maybe on your own, but if you persevere, you can accomplish way more than you ever thought that you could. And that's sometimes, I think, why we get put in those situations.
Oh yeah, totally.
And
As far as like with with the way the masses are right now, I think that people are, even some people in that whole, what's his name? Who's the dude that said he'd vote for Trump?
the curly hair, no one.
Yeah, if Taco Bell farts had a face, that would be him.
That guy, everybody knows who we're talking about. I
Yeah,
can't think of his name.
yeah. Even if you say in the comments, I'm sure people know. But anyway, yeah, Rappaport.
Thank you. Okay, you just reminded me. We can see the comments. Can you see those? I forget.
Yeah, I can.
Okay. I just pulled them
I
up.
see some trolls, but that's whatever. It is what it is.
Oh, they're always here.
Yeah.
Like Cat Williams says, if you don't have enough haters, you need to get some more haters.
You're not doing anything right. Yeah. Yep. No, but I think it's David Rappaport or something. But like people are like, oh yeah, he's coming around. But no, he's not. He's not. He's been given his. They need to get rid of Biden. So they're using all these actors to come up and be like, to say, oh, I'll vote for Trump because Biden's so bad. So that the masses, still the sleepers, but the Democratic sleepers are like, oh, we don't want that. If Rappaport's, if we lost him, we definitely need to get Biden out. Well, they want to do a change of batter right now because they know with all the internal polls, not the polls that they show every other day on Twitter or on Fox or whatever, but they know the internal polls. He's getting just decimated right now.
Yep.
So they know they need to bring in someone new. So, but it's cool seeing that people are finally not just taking what they're hearing on, like all these false flags we're seeing are like almost debunked within a day, as opposed to like taking years.
And that's thanks to the citizen journalists and the investigator, the citizen investigators and the autists, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
I call myself an autist all the time. It's a badge of honor.
It is a badge of honor.
Figure this stuff out if I didn't have that autistic type brain. But actually, John D'Souza, the guy that I was just talking about that worked for the FBI for 25 years, special agent, he trained FBI agents how to be true investigators as opposed to fact finders. And he's told me this in person, and he said it in interviews too. He said the citizen journalists and investigators are by far better than any FBI team that he's ever seen in his life at investigating anything. The collective investigators that all get together, in the forums and all that stuff, they figure stuff out like that.
Yep.
And it's spot on every time.
Yep. Well, if you notice, so the media, they love using phrases that sort of stick. I don't know if they have focus groups that figure this stuff out. Oh yeah, thanks, Michael Rappaport, my wife, instead of David Rappaport. Anyway, but what they do is, instead of, if you notice, they do word games, where right now they don't want to fight lies. They don't say truth or lies. They say misinformation or disinformation, because information is information. It can be wrong information, but it's still information. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where they're not fighting fighting people that are lying. They word it out, as far as these journalists, to fight misinformation. Almost like when we told people, hey, masks don't work and this isn't safe or effective, or all that, we told them, well, then they were combating misinformation. A lot of people were deplatformed, that now we're actually finding out we were right. It wasn't a matter of fighting the truth versus lies. It was misinformation.
Yep. And if anybody's watching this right now that still thinks that we don't know what we're talking about, you can go to my video here on YouTube with Kristen Megan, who was a bioenvironmental engineer and in the Air Force for 9 years, and an industrial hygienist, which is the person who creates guidelines for OSHA and for hospitals on personal protective equipment. When I worked for the fire department, I was the SCBA tech, was one of my jobs at the fire department. So self-contained breathing apparatus. So I had some knowledge on masks, and I repaired those. And before I put them back into service for my firefighters to use, or myself to use, we had to take them down to bioenvironmental to have them fit tested and make sure that they were serviceable, that they could be put back in service. And I did a video with her. She's my Air Force sister on that topic. And we showed everybody, says, follow the science, right? Well, I found the expert. She's been in court for 50 or 60 times on this topic. And she has not lost one time. And we explained to you parts per million, particulate matter, what those masks that they try to make us wear will actually stop. A virus is 0.001 particulate matter. Those masks will stop 0.5 and above. So a virus will go through that mask like a fart through a chain link fence.
Oh, yeah.
And it's, yeah, so go to that video, not to get off topic. I like using that.
But even if you, a lot of times, back in the day when you would even show them, and I think that's where we're shifting as a society, where people are actually starting to realize that they were lied to. Because even though people are asleep, no one likes to be lied to.
No.
Especially by the people that they trusted.
Yeah.
So when you have the media coming out, and that's why they're hoping to kind of bury stories, or like, oh, by the way, yeah, masks don't work. But then now, I guess there's some mystery pneumonia coming out of China again. I don't know if you saw.
I mean, it'll be what, December, January. They got to get everybody distracted. And
look at that! Kind of like how it was back in 2020. It's the same playbook.
Every election, you got SARS and mad cow, and they just use a different name every single time. There was a chart,
scary.
Yeah, that I found, and it showed which virus came out during what year, and it was always the year of the election.
Oh yeah, but people are tired of it. They're getting, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's another election year.
Yeah. And
you didn't like now, you don't hear anything about, CV stuff now, because they're thinking, well, we can move on to something different, but people are awake now.
What do you think about that? Okay, so we've got the upcoming election. Are we going to even have an election? What are your thoughts on that whole situation?
What I think is what they're going to do. I don't know if, and this is probably, some people might think I'm batshit crazy for saying this, but the whole Jassar Nassar thing, I've done a little bit of research on it. And from what I know about it, and I don't know if this is the case, it's just something that would make sense if they used it, that would be the trump card. Because if they actually declare that, Nassar, you have to redo every election.
Yeah.
I think it's within 120 days of the actual announcement, not when Phil Godlewski says it's done. I'm saying like when they come out and actually say, no, I'm not dissing him, but I'm just saying like it actually has to come out and be, but even besides that whole thing, because a lot of people look at that as it's just a conspiracy theory, whatever. Okay. Put that aside. I think that the white hats have gotten the cabal to the point where they have nowhere to go. They can't get a world war started, which is what they want to do to sort of, postpone things. All that weird stuff that came out with Obama, with his chef passing away, that thing is still a mystery. So they're kind of weird. People are thinking, I think Dave from X22, he's convinced that Michelle Obama is going to be their replacement. Which I don't know. It could be, but they know that, for one thing, she doesn't really want to do it. They live the good life. I doubt if, they'd want to. They don't have anybody else, but they know that the longer, and this is the beauty of it. Everyone's like, well, the Republicans, they should impeach Biden. No, they shouldn't. What they did was perfect. They did an impeachment inquiry, because what that does is that opens up the door for them to be like, oh, we discovered this. Oh, look, we discovered that. Oh, and it almost forces the Democrats to be the one to remove Biden instead of the Republicans, to where they can say, oh, it's just political. The media can say, oh, it's just political retribution for going after Trump. They're making it to where the Democrats are the ones that have to be the one to get him out of office.
Yep. I think actually you're onto something with that. I think they might actually try to put her in there. She might not have a choice. Him, Michael, whatever.
Well, because they're puppets too. They have owners. They've got
and they've got dirt on every single one of them. And if they don't comply with what they're told to do, then all of that is released, and then their whole life is over. And so. Going back to John, I talk about John D'Souza all the time. He's one of the greatest patriots I've ever known. He helped save my life. He he taught me how to do some of the stuff that I've done and how to make it through it. Anyway, he does these seminars, and he actually gave me his PDF to two of his seminars that he does. And back in the day, before the last election, he was trying to figure out who they were going to install to be their presidential candidate. And he said they're going to put Michelle Obama in as the presidential candidate. It's the most plausible possibility. And I talk about how I've never heard him say one thing that he wasn't just dialed in on that didn't come to fruition, except for that.
Yeah.
And I think he might have been right. He was just an election off. It might
Yeah.
this time. And I hope they fuck around and find out and do it.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, well, they're trying to put The Rock in there. They're trying to put Oprah.
Yeah.
It's like, no one, The Rock, really? Like, you were there. Of all the Democrats, you can't find a single one that, you know, they want to put in Gavin Newsom, like the slick back used car sales. That's your guy.
The guy that just brought the CCP to California to take over California and run it.
Yeah, and I think Xi actually visited Newsom before he even visited Biden. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But you can see the writing on the wall. But here's the funny thing. From what I've heard, Biden doesn't want to step down. Like, he knows if he does step down that he's toast. So he has to remain in office, even though his legacy is crumbling before his eyes. He's just too stubborn to not get out of the way.
Do you really think that's him?
No, it's not the original one.
Yeah. Okay.
And, no, you can see photos, and you know, it's like, oh, you got plastic surgery. Oh yeah, when I go to the plastic surgeon, I want him to close my ear where it's, you know. Yeah.
I've done the TikTok videos on it. On that exact thing. And
I don't know about the whole cloning technology. I mean, the technologies that's out there, it blow us away.
Yeah, they don't need that.
Yeah, and I don't know, and that's why I tend to not go full in with all of it. Just because, like, I want to be a critical thinker of not just believing every single, you know, every single thing you hear is true or whatever.
Plausible possibility that's out there. We don't always need to go there. And I'm not trying to cut you off here, but just so people can process how that whole situation works, I did a TikTok video on that recently. I think I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of views I got on it, but it was about the time that I worked with the Secret Service when I was a firefighter at the 144th Fighter Wing, and Bush flew in for he was doing a speech at some processing plant or something like that. And the Secret Service used our fire station as their headquarters. So we had a big classroom, and they came in and they set up all their computers, and that was basically like mission control. And because they were staying in our station, they had to interview each one of us individually and ask us all these questions. Do you have any ill will towards the president?
Sure. Yeah.
So I got to hang out with those dudes and watch their whole process. And they flew these C-5s in. C-5 is the largest aircraft in the Air Force, military aircraft in the world, other than the Cosmonov or whatever it's called in Russia. It's like 6 inches bigger wingspan. Anyway, that doesn't matter. They flew all these C-5s in, and they had the entourage coming off the C-5s. And I was just hanging out with this Secret Service guy, and we were just bullshitting. And he was telling me, he was like, so 5 or 6 of those vehicles, I can't remember exactly how many, have a body double for the president. And when they go to their destination, they take different routes. And each one of them looks exactly like the president. And that's when I learned that they use body doubles. And it's not that far-fetched to believe that, hey, somewhere in the world, there's somebody that looks exactly like you. I've seen
JFK used a body double. I've seen pictures of him standing next. It's like, how did you even find that person that looks like he's got the eyes, everything? It's crazy.
I've seen mine. His name is Staff Sergeant Love. He's a staff sergeant in the Air Force in Florida. I was at a sea burning training exercise, and they had this poster, a life-size poster, kind of like your out of Trump back there. It's okay if you show that. I don't care, man. Yeah. It was like a life-size thing like that of the guy with all of the, the gas mask and the charcoal uniform and all that stuff that we wore for chemical, biological, radioactive, explosive, and nuclear training. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at it, and I was like, I was with my senior master sergeant. He was my supervisor. I go, Chris. Well, I was in the Air National Guard, so I called him by his first name. Chris, when did I take this picture? I don't remember doing this. Did we do this in the studio? Did we do, and he goes, look at the name on it. And it's, it's Staff Sergeant Sam Love, Tyndall Air Force Base. And I was just looking at it like I was looking in the mirror. I was like, holy shit, that is crazy. That's gotta be my twin brother. But, every single one of us has a doppelganger. Somebody that exactly like us somewhere in the world. And when the Cabal or Deep, whatever the name you have for them, has that much money, they can
Mhm.
reach out to anybody. They can find anybody, and they can say, "Hey, you want to be rich?"
I feel better for Hillary Clinton's body double. For
You-
someone out there that actually looks like her, it's like, oh,
oh,
sorry.
God, poor lady. Yeah, I think she's going to.
Oh yeah, no, they got her up. It was the 9/11 memorial back in I think 2018. No, 2016. It was before the election.
Yeah, you could hear the chains dragging on the ground.
Like you could see she was actually restrained when
Yep.
they put her in the SUV.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yep.
But a lot of people, and they're like, because we've seen so many, and then the body double came out, and it's like, did you order this body double off a Wish? Like this, barely looked anything like her, but
Yep.
she was in such, far away from the crowd where they couldn't really tell.
Yep.
But it's just like, a lot of people don't believe that, and I think that even Trump has body doubles. He's got to.
Oh, 100%. There's, I think they send his body double into certain, like the court case that he went through recently. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
him in there. I think he was doing other more important shit.
Yep.
And they sent him in to sit there because that's what they're doing. They're trying to take up his time, right? To keep him busy doing all this other stuff, running around in circles, keep him on the treadmill, as they say, as they've told me, I'm a hamster on a treadmill. We're going to keep you on the treadmill, and you're not going to be able to do all your other stuff. And that's standard operating procedure. And he was like, "Oh yeah, well I do, do the same things you guys do, only I'm doing it for the people."
Leave them at their own game. Yeah.
Yep. God, I was going to say something just now, and it completely slipped my mind. Anyway,
Well, you asked me, but I'll ask you. What do you think is the timeline as far as like? Do you think we're going to get to the election? Do you think things are too bad where we won't? What's your thoughts?
I don't know. Here's what I hope would happen. The Nasara, whatever you call it.
Yep.
Us regaining our true constitutional rights and our value from our USIP account being returned to us, so we become financially independent people, and we go back to the constitutional republic, and that election happens exactly like you were talking about. That's what I hope happens.
Yeah.
I don't like to say this is what's going to happen because I really don't know.
We're all guessing. That's the.
I really don't know.
Yeah.
But that would be the best outcome for all of us, because even the people that are like, say there's I mean, not say, there's still a bunch of people that are just completely indoctrinated, and they're stuck in the matrix, and they hate Trump no matter what. If he was responsible for doing that and everybody just ended up with this new life of not having to completely struggle and scrape to get by, and have the opportunity to know what it's like to be one of the people that has capital to make decisions for yourself, their life. You don't think that would change their mind about?
Oh, even the college students, they talk about, how they want to have their uh, you know, their college education paid for. Well, that would be taken away. And I don't think everyone's talking about, everyone kind of wonders, Nassar, everyone's going to be millionaires. No, that would actually cause the collapse of society.
Yeah.
They have to do it in a certain way to where it's almost like reverse government dependency, where it's mandated that you have to work a full-time job in order to reap the benefits of Nasara. You know what I mean? Where it's not like everyone's just giving money. Well, then no one would want to go to work. So the guy working at the grocery store wouldn't show up. The driver that drives the food to the grocery, you know what I mean? Like everything would collapse. So it's almost like this reverse government dependency, where before they gave you money to not work. Now you have to work and have to participate in society in order to reap the benefits of Nasara. And that's, I think, it's going to play out over time, not where everyone becomes a millionaire.
Like overnight. Okay. And that's actually, I'm not an expert on that, obviously, because I don't know how that whole thing, I'm not the greatest with, well, yeah, I'm okay with finance, but I owned an insurance agency for 5 years, but I've always been kind of stuck in a conundrum trying to figure out how exactly would that work, because I was thinking exactly what you just said. Yeah, if everybody just had access to their USIP account, and you can, okay, I can buy a jet now if I want. Yeah, no, who's gonna
Who's gonna make the jet?
deliver the food? Who's gonna make that? Was perfect. That was perfect, man. So
Yeah, I think that I think a lot more people, unfortunately, we have to, and my wife hates this word because I've said it so many times, but we have to get to the precipice. We're not there. I hope people understand that in a way things kind of have to get worse, because there's a lot of people that are still in this whole matrix of it has to be where I think that things won't change until Biden is out of office, because you can't, if they bring in Asara while Biden's in office, they'll make him look like the hero.
oh yeah,
So
look,
he
look,
has to be
look
out.
what he did. He can't even walk up a flight of stairs or tie his shoes. But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, but you can sniff kids good. But then with that, so he has to be out. We have to go through a financial collapse because the fiat dollar has to die. You
yeah.
can't introduce the new thing, so the cabal wanted to actually have everything collapse, but that was to bring people to the point where they would accept the CBDCs, where the central bank digital currency,
Yeah.
just so we could get back to normal. Well, they haven't done that yet, which tells me they really don't have the control or the infrastructure in place for that.
Yeah.
They're trying, but they don't. So the financial, it'll have to collapse. And I think that's where the whole cyber attack or the scare event, as 17's talked about, comes into play, where there are rumors of wars, rumors of drafts where the college kids need to you need to scare the shit out of them, where they're like, oh crap, this is not,
This is not make believe anymore. This is getting
right.
real. They're gonna put me on an airplane over to some country. Yeah.
Yep. And that country really doesn't care about your pronouns.
No, they do not.
No.
No.
They want to end yourself. You know what I mean? Like they want you to not be among us. So I think it's like, kind of there has to be this smack across the face moment in at least the United States. I think other countries, they're dealing with their stuff, but I think that there has to be this real wake up call moment, and we're not there yet. It has to be like either a cyber attack where, I mean, just imagine being able to put your card into your ATM and you not being able to get access to money or even be able to go to the grocery store because of this cyber attack, which is why we've told people to prep, have 2, 3, 4 weeks worth of food, have bottled water, have, because you don't know. What's that?
No electricity or gas or whatever, which is why I got, let's see, where'd it go? That thing.
Nice.
I'm trying to prepare for that kind of thing. Actually, here on the west side of Charleston, I don't care. I tell people where I live. I've got a wood plaque with my last name hanging on my front doorstep. I don't come get some.
Yeah.
My address here. You'll love this. My address is 107.
Nice.
How do you like that? What is no? I don't know. I'm not saying anything about him, but I just thought that.
I actually here's a funny story. So my wife's aunt and uncle, they went to, I think it was Las Vegas. They were staying in Trump Hotel, and they were downstairs having breakfast, and they heard someone talking behind them, and it was him. It was Juan. So they came around the corner. They're like, are you 107? And it's hilarious because he talked to them he was supposed to be talking with David Nino Rodriguez that morning. They had to postpone it because he was down there talking to him.
Oh, that's awesome.
For so long. But they got a picture and they wouldn't send it to me. I had to actually go to where they were and they showed me on their phone.
Yeah.
That's not the guy that we've been seeing, that we saw pictures of.
Oh, okay.
It's different. And that's what I was wondering. I'm like, well, why is he still covering his face or not showing his face if we've already seen it? Well, now I know.
Okay.
So, and it's not JFK Jr.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Could you see the wheels turning in my head?
Yep. No, it's unless he's got some work done or something.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's neither JFK Jr. or the guy that we've seen walk around in other places. So he must have a body double or someone. It looks kind of like him, but not.
Okay, that was respectful of them to think about that, to not just be sending that out if he's, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, but yet, no. What I started to say was the people in my neighborhood got a little taste of not having utilities. So I don't know how the whole thing happened. The story goes a water main burst,
Okay.
blew out the gas line. Water got into all of the gas lines here, and water was coming out of people's furnaces, out of their
Oh,
out of their heaters. And these guys from the water company, it's American Water, Mountaineer Gas, they've been in my neighborhood tearing up every corner of every street, digging holes 10 feet deep to get down to the gas mains, repairing all of that. And nobody in my neighborhood for several blocks has had any gas. And it's
oh,
been
wow.
30 degrees below 30, a lot of nights.
Yeah. But
And
that'll wake people up. I mean, it's right at their doorstep.
yeah. I mean, it happened, and so everybody had to kind of get together. The church down the street was letting people come in and take hot showers and stuff like that. And it's like, they were giving out hot meals and stuff like that. And because which happens here anyway, because this is West Virginia is one of the most economically challenged states in the United States. I've never seen anything like it here before, or in my life, like it is here. Greatest place I ever lived. I am so thankful that I live here, and I love West Virginia, and I'm proud to be a my brain's stopped working. I'm proud to be a West Virginian, and
Mhm.
I'm glad that I live here now. Great people, but they had to all work together to figure something out, get a warm shower, and but imagine that on a mass level. That'd wake people up pretty quick. Like, hey,
Oh,
what's
yeah.
going on here? You know?
Well, and the thing is too, that's why I think the Second Amendment is so important, because if that does happen on a mass level, people will freak out and people will want to
Panic,
see what everyone else has.
fight or flight.
Yep.
Go in that fight or flight mode. What do I do? I didn't prepare. I better go get something from my neighbor.
Yep. Even if he wants me to or not.
Yeah, exactly. It's actually one of the reasons I chose to move here, because I know that this place has already, they're ahead of the curve as far as having to survive and work together to just continue on with life. The coal industry here was taken away by, there was Obama and Hillary.
Yep.
They destroyed the coal industry. That's their main income here. And then I believe that this is just my theory. So like the CIA pushed in a bunch of crack into Los Angeles in the 80s, 90s,
Yep.
right? And that's pretty much verified. I think that this is one of the places they did that, but they did it with the fentanyl. They had the worst fentanyl epidemic here. What's the name of the Huntington, West Virginia, which is about a little over an hour from here. Worst fentanyl epidemic in the United States. And then here in West Virginia, back in the Hollow, they had a huge problem with that, heroin, all kinds of stuff. And I think that because these people here, I'm getting off track, but these people here are such patriots and good-willed people. I've never seen a community like here.
Yeah,
they're just good people.
But that's through hard times. I think that's what.
But I think
part of the whole thing is when when scare events happen like this, I think it will actually test and build communities where people will have to go to their neighbor and have to be like, hey, can I barter with you a roll of toilet paper for some sugar or all of that? And I don't think it's going to last too long. If we do have a scare event, I don't think it will last more than 2 weeks. I don't think it'll be worldwide, because there's a term, I think it's called law of diminished returns. I think it's called. I could be off, but it's where things get so bad that it can't be repaired.
Yeah, and you just have to change your game plan.
Yeah, but I think that's where the white hats, they want to bring us to that point, but not over that point where we can't, where things just, the whole society structure collapses.
Yep.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
But we're not there yet. But I think that it's getting to there, where we're bringing in more of a World War scenario. Even Klaus Schwab's talked about that we're going to face a cyber attack. Gee, how would you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, just read my book.
Yeah, we want to depopulate, so you should listen to us as far as taking care of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'm gonna if you have anything that you want to just talk about for about 1 minute, I'm gonna take.
No, I'm pretty good. I think that it's encouraging to me that people are starting to see the 40,000 foot view, where they're starting to see past where they're waking up.
Come on, time out. Let
Yeah,
me stop you. What I
sure.
was gonna say is I'm gonna put you on the hot seat, and you're gonna be the. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, is what I'm telling you. I'm gonna go pee.
Okay, go
It's
for it.
on you for a minute, and so take the stage and talk about whatever you want. And I'll be right back.
Sounds good. No, well, when nature calls, you have to answer. No, I'm encouraged, and everyone's listening, or everyone that will listen in the future. Uh, later when it's on YouTube, or it is now, but I'm encouraged the fact that people are waking up, that people are um, seeing things for what they are, and seeing that what they're being told is not really the truth. That everything in society um, is you've been lied to, and I think that people are starting to see that, and it's. I know people are tired. I know people are war weary. I mean, I've been doing this since for the past 3-4 years, where I used to go on TikTok every night. And sometimes I would get taken off. Sometimes they would say you can't go live for a week, but we've been doing this for a long time. So I know people are tired. Um, but here's the thing. And people want it right away. They want, you guys want things to happen right. Not all of you, but a lot of people want things to happen right away. They want an end to it right now. I would encourage you with this. If at the very, very end of all of this, we win, or God wins, or if the good guys win, where we actually get to that point where the cabal is taken down, we are back to a constitutional republic. I don't care how long it takes, as long as in the end we get the resolve that we want. So I understand people might be a little tired of waiting so long, but I would much rather, if we only have one shot to do this, I'd much rather be patient, because the people who have been doing this for the longest time, ever since JFK's assassination, they've got patience like you wouldn't believe, and they've been waiting for this moment. So I think that hopefully with that, we can be patient with them, as long as we win in the end. That's my spiel.
Awesome. Thanks for covering me on the bio break, man.
No problem. I've got one coming up, so I'll probably have to let you go.
Okay. Well, I mean, we do real life here on my YouTube channel. If you need to go, I mean, not to go to the bathroom, but if we need to call it on the talk here, that's fine. If you need to take a bathroom break, I can cover it, and we can come
Well,
back.
actually, we'll call it for now, because I got some other errands I got to do. But I would love for us to come back. I love doing this, because it's cool just hearing other patriots, what they've gone through. Man, I am glad, and knock on wood, I haven't gone through what you've gone through. But I mean, you're one of the patriots out there that hopefully will get the recognition that they deserve, because you've been through the ringer, and I think it's awesome.
I thank you, man. That's a compliment. Your wife is in the comments here saying, "Don't stop."
Don't stop.
Yeah. I don't know.
We can. I mean, I can hold a little bit longer. I can whatever. She's the one that actually. There was some stuff we're doing later today, so if she
Oh,
says to keep going, then
okay.
I'm all for it. So
You're a smart man. That's why you're still together.
I pick my battles.
Listen to her. No, that's awesome. I'm glad that you have a good relationship and somebody that will do this with you, and that it's really important. And we need more of that in our society. So many people have been split up and broken apart, and they're either on their own or with the wrong person, and having the right person with you is such a blessing. And I'm happy for you. A lot of people that, I I won't lie, I get lonely sometimes. I wish I
Oh,
had
sure.
a good partner with me. But everything happens for a reason, and learning to enjoy your own company is a good thing. But a lot of people that might be in my situation, instead of being happy for you, they might be resentful. Like, why does he have something I don't have, or whatever? And I'm thankful that you have a partner to do this with, and to help you and be supportive. And it's just awesome. We need more of that everywhere.
Yeah, she's awesome. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There's been times where she's like, "When is this going to be over? Like,
Yeah,
when is the movie over with?"
all of us want it to be over. We're like,
Right.
when can we just get back to reality and get through the Truman Show? When are the credits going to roll?
Right.
Uh,
But that's the thing. We're not going. People need to understand. We're not going back to normal.
no,
I mean, it just won't. Like, here's the funny thing. This is sort of a random thought, but I guess I'd share it. We've come so far in society that back in the day when we found out that Liberace was gay, we were actually surprised.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? We're like, wait, he was gay. Nowadays, if you look at him, you're like, oh yeah, he's totally gay. Not that we have anything against it, but back in the day, we were just like,
Yeah,
we were taken aback. But society sort of moved where we recognize things now that that back then we were so asleep to. Like, I voted for Obama the first time because I'm like, well, Bush doesn't do anything, and Bush is back. You remember when, like, oh, Bush is the good guy and Democrats are the bad. Like, people don't realize. I think they're realizing this now because you've got the Uniparty, and that's both Democrats and Republicans. But you got the Uniparty, and then you've got Trump and his, the people that support Trump. But he's not really. He's running Republican, but he's not part of that establishment.
exactly.
Then you've got the progressives that are claiming to be part of the Democrats, but they're not really. But we didn't realize back in the day that I was always thought that Democrats are bad and Republicans are good, and George Bush was awesome, and you see now all the stuff that's come out. You're like, I can't believe how evil these people were, but we were just too blind to see it. But now it's pretty common knowledge.
You beat me to it. I was going to mention that you had voted for Obama back in the day, and
Unfortunately.
no, I mean, everybody makes mistakes, and it didn't matter if you voted for Obama or Bush or if you were left or right. It was all the same fucking thing.
Yep.
And we didn't get that. And so that's what I tell people all the time. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. If I was a Democrat, I'd be a JFK supporter. If I was a Republican, I'd be a Trump supporter. It's pretty much the same thing.
Yep.
And it's just one of the ways that, and a lot of people already know this, it's just one of the ways that they keep us divided and fighting. And
oh yeah, totally.
That's one more thing I want to say about West Virginia here too. I like talking about this place. I love it here so much.
That's cool.
I was supposed to go through all this so I could end up home. Pretty much it's the only place I've ever felt like home. Anyway, this has been a Democrat state since like the 40s. They haven't had any Republicans in office for the longest time.
Wow.
It's just been all Democrat. And 76% of West Virginia voted for Trump in the last election. The number one state. Everybody here, not everybody. There's still the old school Democrats that still, they're just like, I'm a Democrat no matter what, to the grave.
Yeah.
They won't listen to any of the stuff, and they, but literally, and I mean, those were the numbers that were put out there, 76%. Imagine the real numbers.
Oh yeah.
Probably like 90 something. and I see it, but that's one of the things that can attest to people using critical thinking skills is, we don't have to be left or right or whatever. We have to go along with what our gut tells us and what our downloads from source, or however you want to, our critical thinking skills and our discernment. People are doing that more, and I see that here more than a lot of places I've been. Going back to the Scaravit kind of thing too. I think one of the positives that's happening through this whole situation is people that are in these huge cities like Phoenix, where I was, Avondale, but it's 15 minutes, if that, to the Capitol building in downtown Phoenix from my house. There's 6 million people there now. There doesn't be 6 million people in the Phoenix area. The people need to move out to a lot of these smaller towns where life is slower and people are better. I can't think of a different way to say it.
Well, it's just the people are it's simpler lives.
Simpler lives, and things aren't as, they haven't progressed as much. And it's just, and a lot of these small towns all over the United States, people have just moved away to go to the big city. And I think, or not, I think, I know, I see it happening. A lot of people have just gotten tired of being in that whole rat race, and they're going out to the country, and they're finally realizing, hey, this isn't that bad. These people aren't dumb rednecks. They're good, smart, like hardworking.
Yeah, and they'll look out for you too. Like neighbors look out for neighbors, and
Yeah,
as
yeah,
long as they don't bring their shitty democratic ideas, where
yeah,
it's like, don't leave your shithole democratic city to come to mine to try to change mine into a shitty democratic city.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. But I think that's, giving a lot of smaller towns that were just decimated, through the economy, um, new people that have a new outlook and that can help rebuild some of these smaller communities and grow our country in a positive way. And
Yeah.
I see it happening here. I meet people from all over the place. I actually talked to my real estate, or not real estate agent, the insurance agent. I said, "Tell me about the influx of people moving here." And he was like, "How did you know about that?" I said, I pay attention." Um, he said, "For the last 10 years, we've lost 10 to 15 clients a month."
Wow.
And he said, over the last year, we've been getting 10 to 15 moving in from all over the place, like you, from Arizona or from, California or from whatever. But the guy that I was talking to, we could have a conversation like you and I are having, close.
Yeah.
And he said, the thing I've noticed is a lot of them aren't the people that are going to try to come here and turn it into what, they left or what they did. They learned their lesson. And then
Yeah, hopefully.
no, well, that was just his observation. Was, a lot of the people that he had encountered, had conversations with, because he, has conversations with them a lot. Everybody here will take an hour to talk with you about whatever. It's a trip. It's hard to get things done sometimes, because people just you have to be like, okay, well, I got to get some work done.
Yeah.
But it's just how it is. But that was, that's going on here, and this place definitely needs, not an influx of people to make it crowded, but they need some people. And it's like that in a lot of small places where they need more people to work. They need more people for just,
it builds the economy in the
the economy. It'll help that community recover, grow new businesses and small businesses, which is what we need, in my opinion.
Yeah.
A big company you can't live the American dream without having the opportunity to grow a small business, do something for yourself. If we're all just constantly working for these giant BlackRock and Vanguard parent company owned corporations, nobody will ever have a chance to live the American dream.
Well, yeah, and I think that's where they designed it that way, and and then made the rat race even bigger when they're like, oh, you need to pursue the American dream. You need to buy a house, have 2 cars, have a pool, so all of a sudden you're working, and then finally when you achieve all that, it's like it's. I'm not going to say it's a farce, but I think that they did that to keep people busy, to where they wouldn't pay attention to what's been going on and how, I think this is completely off topic, but I think one of the greatest things that happen, because they've been trying to distract people.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the greatest things, one of the biggest things that they got wrong was keeping kids at home for the whole COVID thing. The reason why I say that is because parents didn't know what their kids were being taught until they actually looked, when they were looking at their laptop or their computer, be like, what's that?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that's the curriculum. Parents didn't even know. They trusted the schools, that the schools knew best, and the schools were going to look out for their kids, not knowing that they were learning gender dysphoria. They were learning, all these things, just sort of,
math.
Yeah. But it wasn't to make kids smarter. It was to make things more, they did it for equity, they said, but it was just to dumb down kids, where they were just told, it's this systematic thing of, I'm not going to make you have critical thinking. I'm just going to say you need to do this and this and this and this to get to that don't worry about just adding these numbers. You got to do all these things. It was setting the stage for kids to be obedient and compliant with what they were being told at a very young age.
Absorb the information we're telling you, regurgitate it out onto a piece of paper, and we're testing you to see how compliant you will be to be a worker for us, not to create your own financial stability and opportunity for yourself. I mean, we're just basically repeating George Carlin right now.
I was just going to bring them up where they make you just smart enough where you can run the machines, but just dumb enough to where you won't think think for yourself or anything like that.
Yeah. Talk about being ahead of your time, man. That guy was light years.
Gosh.
He tried to tell us.
Yep.
He tried to tell us a long time ago.
It's a big club and you ain't in it. We didn't realize what he was talking about till recently.
Yep. The club ball.
Yeah.
I just came up with that one.
Nice.
Have you ever seen the 17 map, the Dylan Monroe? The map, they have the Q maps.
Oh, yes. The big where it has every single thing of how it fits, and that thing is like very intricate.
I got it on my wall, right? I just looked over for some reason.
Yep.
So this is it's a reflection on the window, but basically this is a lot of the stuff that we're talking about. Everything is on here. I use this to reference a lot when I'm doing my research. If something pops in my mind and I'm thinking about something, I'll just check this out. And it's actually been really helpful. This isn't like a paid advertisement for that thing or anything, but I like
but it just shows how everything's so ornate and so connected.
Yeah.
And why it takes so long for people to sort of wake up, because if you showed like, let's say you took that outside and had someone decipher that whole thing, or like, here's everything you need to memorize, like people would just shut down.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You get fluorides there for sure.
Yeah.
With some people, like I have a buddy here that I was working for a lady, installing some toilets and just did random handyman stuff. And I was just talking to her. She had on Fox News and she's got a Trump sticker on her car and stuff like that. So we hit it off. And I was telling her some things and she goes, you definitely need to meet my neighbor. And I was like, okay. And so we were delivering this big marble table for her to somebody. So that guy came over and helped, and he hopped in the truck. And in like 2 minutes, he was like, are you my new best friend? And I was like, yeah, I think we are. Yeah. And so we still hang out, and I talk to him on the phone. And, I've done some work for him. I helped him install new water lines when his froze, and this and that. But I invited him over to my house. He's been over here a few times. He came over when my mom was visiting so we could meet her and stuff. But I showed him that map, and just the look on his face, because he's older than I am by maybe 15 years or so. But he's been like a truther pretty much his entire life, but he's kept it kind of under wraps, and he, didn't want to put himself out there. And
because everyone thought you were some crazy tinfoil hat.
He didn't want to be the tinfoil hat guy. Yep. And he saw that map, and he stood there and stared at, just jaw dropped. And he was like, this is everything. This is everything that I've been writing down my whole life. And it's all right here. Who did this? Who's responsible for this? And I told him, just go to deepstatemappingproject.com and you get one for your, for your house or whatever. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll sit there and just look at the map, and we'll just talk for hours, just discuss all this stuff, and yeah. So I like that. I never get paid for doing any advertising stuff, but whenever I see something that I think is helpful for people, I just put it out there and tell them where to go and where to get it and stuff.
Sure. And that's the thing with like the truth. It should be free, but I mean, some people have to make a living. So you totally understand it, but yeah. I'd much rather just get the truth out there and let people do with it what they will, kind of thing.
Exactly. Speaking of, you guys heard about, you heard me talking about how broke I am and how tough it is when you're blacklisted through a DHS. Let's see, where's my thing here? There you go.
There you go.
That's, I have PayPal, Venmo, I have all that stuff, but I always use this analogy. I never know the right word to use, but so Anderson Cooper and a lot of these journalists that they read scripts and they indoctrinate you with the false narratives to keep you divided between ethnicity, religion, political party, all that stuff. They get paid like $10, $11 million a year. people like Brian and I who put way more work, and we actually do research, and we share this information and don't make any money. I've been shadow banned on TikTok. They demonetized my everything. I don't even know if my YouTube channel is still monetized. So it's, we do this literally for free, and it takes a lot of time and effort and sacrifice. And I get a reaction every time I do something like this. I know that there's going to be some kind of response after I do this video. There is every time I do TikTok video. I'm not trying to put any fear in.
Do I need to watch my 6 now? That
I mean, it's good to be vigilant.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Anytime. But me personally, I always get some kind of reaction where it's like, you're going to pay for doing this. And a lot of times it's financial. So if anybody wants to help me out, I'm not grifting or panhandling or anything. I'm actually doing work and trying to help provide actual, real investigative journalism and share people with you that will do a better job than I do a lot of the times to help you get the real news, not the fake news. So there's my PayPal. Here, if you guys don't follow me on TikTok or Twitter, there, I'll just leave that scrolling down at the bottom for a little while. That's how you get to me on Twitter, at Michael Barden, number 8. And then TikTok is You're Not Gonna Believe This, Gonna. And I thought of that name just because of the reaction I got from so many people, telling them all this stuff like, you're not gonna believe this, but
yeah.
And then, continue with that. So anyway, there's my shameless self-promotion to help me keep the heater on when it gets down to 25 degrees, and just I'm not getting rich by any means. I have hope, though. Someday I want to be financially independent. Did you see my coffee mug? Actually,
no.
I've been drinking from this.
Nice.
I found this at a swap meet like 10 years ago, and I've kept it, and it just kind of reminds me, like, don't give up, man. Someday, not that money is everything, but
no, but you have to survive. That's what I mean. And the thing is, you're offering a service where you're bringing truth. I think that's one of the most important things, is bringing truth to people. And I started doing it not to make money. I mean, we're okay where we're at. So it's like when I first started doing the podcast, we actually had a lot of people, because I got kicked out of every platform. I was knocked off of Twitter. They kept knocking me off the live stream in TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
We did Clapper. Not a lot of people have heard of Clapper, but it was kind of like they said it was a free speech alternative to TikTok. We actually got kicked off of there.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to do my own website, and I'm like, well, then I can talk freely and whatever. And we had, like your supporters, I had supporters that they actually stepped up. They helped us buy a computer and do all that, because they really enjoyed what we do. So I really hope that that the people watching will donate to you, because you really offer a service that there's not a lot of people who have the time or effort or even will, because that you might get backlash for doing what you're doing. So I hope people see this and are really wanting to help you out with that.
If I had the capital, if the financial means, I would do this full time.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of, and that's why my finances are attacked, and so much is that they know that I'm good at this, and I don't care if that sounds arrogant or whatever. No. But I'm damn good at what I do. I was trained at the Department of Defense Information School at Fort Meade, Maryland, to be a photo, video, broadcast journalist, combat correspondent, weapon system video, investigative journalism, broadcast voice school. I mean, I've done some real training, and then I've put it into use and done it on my own. And I could be a real big voice for I hate to call it a movement. It sounds so weird, but
it is a movement.
It is, yeah. And that's what I would like to do. It's my passion, Mm-hmm. I like going out and working hard, getting my hands dirty. Yeah. That's great. That's insulation, that's spray foam, working up in the attic, which is actually what I'm going to do when we get done with this interview, is go finish putting insulation up there. But
there you go.
I like going out and working hard for other people and helping them do things, but I want to do this. This is my God-given talent, and I would like to do this, full time and replace some of these fake journalists that constantly lead people in the wrong direction. I want to uphold my oath to the Constitution and serve the people that I swore that oath to by doing this. So I guess that's all I got to say about that.
Well, and the thing is too, I think that once things do turn around, I think they will be looking for real journalists to,
Yep.
true truth seekers, truthers, that will seek out what's real and not just regurgitate whatever their 4 a.m. talking points are.
Yep.
And we're seeing that the mainstream media, they're really suffering. I mean, there's a reason why he called it fake news.
Mm-hmm.
And people who that was a phrase that Trump had coined, but now people are actually seeing he was right.
Yeah, and all you have to do to prove that he was right is go to the Smith-Mundt Act of 1948.
Yep.
It was a law stating that propaganda cannot be used against the American citizens, and then Obama revised it,
mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden the mass shootings skyrocketed, all of the chaos started happening, and I've got a graph actually from John D'Souza, from his PDF, from his seminars that he sent to me, that shows all of the mass shootings along timelines from the 60s, and then the second that Smith-Mundt Act was revised, skyrocket. It's like what you wish your stocks looked like.
Yep.
Graph.
Yeah.
But so it's completely provable, all of it, and
which is why they go back to saying they're fighting misinformation, disinformation instead of combating lies.
Yeah,
because they can tell you whatever. It's information that they deem
the DHS Ministry of what did they call that thing?
That was a ministry. No, it wasn't Ministry of Truth. That was from 1984. But yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Would that last like 3 days? And then they were like, no, we changed our mind. We're not going to do that.
Because they were mocked relentlessly. Like, the fact people were just like, Nina, I forget what her name was, but yeah, they had her be the minister of misinformation, and people are just like, no, we're not doing that. But that shows you the power of the people when we actually say, no, we're not going to do what you are doing. They cower. So that shows the people that they've got the power.
That was a great example of that. That was a perfect example of how the people stood up, did their own investigations, their own research, and then disseminated that information amongst everybody through social media.
Yep.
And they literally shut down a Department of Homeland Security government program that the DHS probably, when they were sitting around their table thinking about how they're going to keep us all quiet, they were like, oh, this is going to work great. This is amazing. I'm such one,
Yeah.
And like less than a week, literally less than a week, they were like, we changed our mind.
We're not going to do that. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
We'll let you know. But that just shows you that as long as we are compliant, they're going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But the moment people actually start speaking out and saying, no, we're not. We're going to go this way. There was something even recently where they wanted to come up with something, and the masses are, the truthers were just like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen, and then they cowered. It's like, I don't know if we really understand the power we have and I think of being well informed people.
Mm-hmm.
That once we are informed and people are getting there, the less and less the power of the government, the less and less the federal government has power over us.
Yeah. And it has to be that way. And that's why we're at where we're at right now. We're going through all this, and people are waking up. So in the comments, your wife is saying, talk about 9/11. Yeah, I'm gonna give this real quick rundown that I've done a million times, but there's always gonna be somebody new watching. So it's kind of like when I did insurance, I repeated myself 100 times a day.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to do that because the person that was sitting in front of me didn't hear the information that I just gave the last person. So it was necessary to keep repeating the same thing I said over and over. So
Do you mind if I step away from the computer for a second?
Yeah, that's a perfect time because I can.
All right.
Yeah, go for it, man.
I'll mute myself and I'll be right back.
Okay. All right. Okay. So for those of you who have heard me say this before a million times, I apologize. But for anybody new that's listening to this that doesn't know, one of the ways that we got into this mass surveillance police state type thing, and his wife said, talk about 9/11. So I was a firefighter during 9/11, not in New York. I was at the 144th Fighter Wing. I was a crash fire rescue firefighter. And I just got off duty. The morning that happened, I ended up back at work for like 20 days with a Kevlar helmet and a flak jacket, looking around our buildings for unexploded ordinances. And, then our whole lives changed. So, but the way that they installed this police state was 9/11, problem, reaction, solution, paradigm, false flag. I'm saying all the words that can get me kicked off of YouTube. I guess I don't care because they'll eventually have to suffer the repercussions if they do that. So 9/11 was the false flag, problem, reaction, solution, paradigm, or the Hegelian dialectic, which is what it's otherwise known as. And that caused a visceral reaction in our society to say, oh, we need to do something about safety. And so that's when the Patriot Act was installed, which didn't have anything to do with supporting or be patriots or being patriotic. It's what took away our Fourth Amendment rights to privacy and being not having illegal searches and seizures on our property. And that includes our information, our phone calls, our emails, our text messages. It goes beyond that into remote neural monitoring, and I won't even get into all of the tech stuff where they literally get into your brain. There's U.S. patents for all of it. I've spoken with the guy that helped create a bunch of this technology, and you can research that more later. But we lost all of our Fourth Amendment rights to privacy, and since then, they have been collecting mass data on every single one of us. That goes to I believe it's 2 mass data centers. One's in Salt Lake City, one's at Fort Meade, Maryland, which I actually trained right across the street from the largest NSA facility in the United States. And I believe that one is called DIMOC, Defense Information Management System. But all of our information, everything that we've done since the Patriot Act, probably before that, but it's when they really kicked into gear, and they collected mass data on every single one of us. And after the Patriot Act was enacted, they created what are called Department of Homeland Security fusion centers. Brian, I'm just going through the timeline from
totally.
From 9, I'm just catching you up to speed so you know what I'm talking about. 9/11, the problem, reaction, solution, paradigm, false flag event. Then the Patriot Act was enacted to take away our rights to privacy, searches and seizures. And the Department of Homeland Security fusion centers were created, or the Department of Homeland Security was created, and fusion centers were created. So they would have a way to, if you were targeted, put on a DHS watch list through the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, FISA Section 702. It was supposed to be used for foreign nationals, and then watch listing guidance was updated in 2013, which means that they took a whole bunch of actual terrorists off the terrorist watch list, and they put constitutionalists, patriots, libertarians, and a lot of veterans literally on terrorist watch lists. And once you're put on a terrorist watch list, you literally lose all of your rights, and they want to kill you. They give you, United States, we kill terrorists, right? So you get put on one of those watch lists, and all of that data that's been collected on you, all of that time is sent to a Department of Homeland Security fusion center, and your information, everything that they've gathered about you, stuff that you've forgotten about yourself, is sent to these fusion centers, and then that information is sent out to compartmentalized groups like FBI, InfraGard, Citizen Corps, homeowners associations. Large corporations take part in this whole thing. If they're anything connected to the government or a large corporation, which is, we've become a corporatocracy where the corporations basically run the government, they're taking part in this whole system. And, it's compartmentalized, and they lie to people to get them to take part in this whole thing. But that's how they've gone after a lot of the patriots and the constitutionalists, like I'm talking about, the veterans. And just to put this in perspective of what they've done, some of you have heard about the veteran suicide rate, some of you haven't, but we've had 20 veterans a day commit suicide since the Patriot Act was enacted, and it's impeccable timing when that started, right? So they put these people, and I'm one of them, through a Stasi style psychological, they call it no touch torture, which it's not no touch. I've been attacked many times, got tackled by one of these people in the middle of a convenience store, broke my ribs. Car accidents. I just lost my last truck. I had to replace my truck. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. They've put our veterans and other people that get put on these lists through such psychological, financial attacks that you lose everybody that you love in your life. You lose everything that you've worked hard for in your life, and you are constantly followed and stalked and mocked and harassed. Home break-ins, things are moved around in your home to gaslight you. And they've pushed so many people. These are people that have gone to war for your rights, that have gone to put their life on the line because they thought they were going to war for you. And these people have ended up committing suicide because their entire life was destroyed by being put on these quote watch lists. And it's just a takedown thing. That's been one of my main goals. Doing what I do is trying to inform people that, if you're part of a community policing group and they told you that, hey, you have to do this certain thing because this person is a bad guy or whatever, remember, the real bad guys always have a scapegoat or a cover story, and it's called transference or projection, and they're going to tell you that a certain person is responsible for exactly what they're actually doing. And that transfers the guilt and the shame and the persecution of them off to some other person. So they're basically just passing the buck, and they're letting the people that would actually be a threat to them but are protecting your freedom take the punishment. So I know it's hard to process that because it is compartmentalized, and a lot of people are like, well, what's the big deal if I just set my car alarm off? Or if I pass by this person with a certain t-shirt or something like that. These programs are evil. That t-shirt that you're wearing that the community policing supervisor told you to wear just reminded that targeted individual of the day that their dad blew their brains out, or the day that their wife died on their birthday, or when they lost one of their children, or just something traumatic like that. And I said those things because those actually happened to me, and I'm reminded daily of all of these traumatic things that have happened throughout my life through these community policing programs. And it has nothing to do with safety or security. It has to do with taking out people who would give their life for your freedom. Anyway,
that's some sick stuff, though. I mean, it's like, but it's all about control.
Yeah,
it's either the FBI and CIA need to be dissolved.
100%.
Sorry, I know you're listening.
Oh yeah, no, you're on my channel. They're guaranteed listening.
Yeah. But the cool thing is, because more and more people, they can silence one person. It's kind of like the movie Ants. Remember the scene in Ants?
Yep.
With the grasshoppers.
Yep.
They can crush one person, but when more and more people stand up against them, I think that's what we're actually starting to see now. Where they, before in the past, they had the power to ruin someone's life, where they could get them to shut up, or just because it's psychological warfare on them, regardless if it's, like you said, financial, mental, physical, all that. They don't want actual patriots. They want you to die for your country or serve, your country, but they don't want you to actually defend the Constitution, because, well, we don't live under the actual Constitution.
No, not currently.
We will hopefully, but yeah, right now with it being the corporation, um, but it's such a people don't realize just how corrupt. We think, oh well, the United States government wouldn't do that to their own citizens.
They do.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, they would, and they do, and I've documented and reported on it since 11/11/2017. It's the day I
And
started.
even and that's the thing, like people don't realize, like, yeah, we're the military arm of the trifecta of you know of the triangle. Um, so yeah, they would do that to their own people because they have they've done this for years and years.
Yep.
Done color revolutions to other, with other countries. Like we are the military part of that. So yeah, they would do it to their own if they felt like those people were a threat to their way of life and their
Cool. Yeah.
voice.
MLK, Martin Luther King, COINTELPRO. What did he try to do? He tried to bring people together.
Yep.
That's all he wanted to do, bring people together instead of being divided. What did they do? They put him and his entire family through COINTELPRO, which is very similar to what I'm talking about. It's like a part of it. COINTELPRO. Slander campaigns, setting you up with honey traps and all kinds of. They've got all, like Chuck Schumer said. If you mess with the intel community, there's 6 ways from
Sunday. Yep.
He told Trump that, and it's more like 6,000 ways from Sunday. They're very creative and very intelligent and good with strategy, but they are very, very evil. And it's what they've done over time. And thank God, a lot of people have listened to this information about these types of things. And I know for a fact that there are some people. I've actually had a few of the people that were involved in these programs that were sent after me and have done some pretty terrible things to me, literally apologize to me and say I was not aware of what I was actually doing. And that's out of like thousands and thousands. And I mean, there's a lot of people that are, but like I said, it's compartmentalized. And I don't hate all of these people who have taken part in these programs, because I think of it this way. Okay, in the military, we were sent to Iraq. We were sent to Afghanistan. I didn't go to either one. I went to the desert, lived in a tent, but it was in the United Arab Emirates. But okay, they were told that we're going over there because these guys with box cutters jumped on an airplane and flew into these buildings, and it was all their fault. So now we got to go to these countries that actually the people weren't even from, and we have to go fight for freedom. And then we realized later, veterans realized, holy shit, we were there for oil in one country and opium in the other country, and other things, maybe a Stargate. That's a whole nother talk show.
Yeah.
But it was compartmentalized on a need to know basis. You are just sent to a certain place and you go do this certain thing, and you're doing it because you have good intentions. And then you find out later, holy shit, I was supporting this terrible thing that should have never happened, where 1 million Iraqis died that should have never died. And then you have to deal with that. That's literally the same standard operating procedures that they've done here now to get people to take part in these targeting programs, like I was talking about, that they think they're doing a good thing. They have pride. Wow, I'm protecting my community from these bad guys. So, I don't, I forgive most of you, except for the ones that I can tell really enjoy it. And they're like narcissistic psychopaths that, which they love to recruit. Of course, yeah. They look for people who are just straight up criminal psychopaths, and they're like, oh, they'd be perfect for this. And those people truly get, it's
a power trip.
Narcissistic supply is the term.
Yeah.
When they're getting negative responses from somebody, that's what fuels them. Or in the spiritual world, they call it loosh. That's also a whole nother talk show.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that. I'm surprised I don't know that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that. It's basically, so the 3D view of it is narcissistic supply. Narcissists are fueled off of negative reactions from other people, and
okay, yeah,
a sense of empowerment. Well, in the spiritual side of it, loosh is what basically fuels the dark side. All of our pain and our suffering is what fuels them and keeps them going. It's just more of the woo-woo side of it, but it's the same thing.
Well, it makes sense with What's that kids movie that they came out with where they charged them the batteries with screens? Kids scream.
Monsters Inc.
Yeah.
Monsters Inc. That's what it's. I refer to that movie all the time, and I watch it every once in a while because that's exactly what that's about. People say it's about adrenochrome. That movie's.
Well, yes and no. It could have parallels, but yeah, it's just
Yeah.
getting off on
But it has
negative reactions.
negative reactions. But I actually liked what they did in the movie where they showed that, you know what, we realized that laughter and happiness is what fuels it 100 times faster.
Yep.
And it
Well, but that it's again, even though it's Luciferian in nature, it's still telling people the truth.
Yep.
And sort of, but we're never going to latch onto it because it was just in a kid's cartoon.
Yeah. Well, I think some people will. I think, like we said, we're going through the Great Awakening. People are waking up, and I think they're realizing.
True.
A lot of people are realizing, hey, and people tell me that all the time. You ever seen that one movie? That was really about this thing. I'm like, yes, exactly. You're getting it. Good job.
Mhm.
It's, it's right there in front of our faces. They tell us. And, now that you know that, then you can do more research into that and you can learn more about that and become, educated on this certain subject that they tried to stigmatize us with this plausible deniability movie. And now you realize that's a real thing. So that I've got all kinds of theories about that. I think that has something to do with the Department of Energy and harvesting energy, and it gets wild. But
it could be, I don't. There's nothing that I will just flat out say I don't believe in.
Oh yeah.
Even though like all of a sudden I'm seeing stuff on flat Earth,
who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, it doesn't really affect me. So there's a part of me that's like, okay, it might be flat, it might be whatever. We'll find out eventually, I guess. But like to me, it doesn't really.
Here's what
matter in the bigger picture per se right now.
Here, I talk about this all the time because people always ask me, is the Earth flat or is it round? And I'm like, until we can figure out how to function in general,
it
doesn't fucking matter.
Let's try not killing each other first. Then maybe we'll
past all this other shit that we can't.
Again, but that's a divisionary tactic. We're divided by you're a flat Earth or you're a globe, whatever.
Flat Earth, round Earth, mask, no mask, left, right,
Israel, Hamas, or Palestine.
This, that, it goes on. I mean, I could write a list that's 100 pages long.
But that's where people have to understand that when their biggest fear is unity. Their biggest fear is when people stop doing these social experiments where you're either this way or you're this way, and people come together. That's when true power comes back to the people. Yeah. It's the divisionary tactics, and it's so funny to see how I think people are getting tired of it. To be honest with you, there's this fatigue where people are tired of the whole like men hating, like the patriarchy versus this, and this is like, it's almost like I kind of liken it to like when you were a kid and you were caught smoking a cigarette. Well, what did your parents do? At least some parents. What they do, they made you smoke the whole pack to where you get sick of it.
Yep.
It's like, oh, you want to smoke? Yep. You're not leaving until you smoked, and then you threw up and you were so sick. But by the end, you didn't want to see another cigarette again.
Yep.
So I think the part of this Great Awakening is flooding society with so much just utter craziness that people are we're tired of pronouns. We're tired of the whole gender dysphoria. We're tired of all of this just clownish stuff.
Yeah.
That it almost it turns people off to it and brings us back where all we want is something normal.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be right, doesn't have to be left. Just kind of brings people back to by bombarding them with everything.
Yeah.
It turns them off.
Asymmetrical warfare battle fatigue.
Yep.
I mean, yeah. And then I'm there. I've been there for a long time. I'm just like, can't we all just get along?
No, apparently we can't.
No, I know, and that's a utopian whatever. Nobody's ever going to just get along, but we can do a lot better than what we're doing if we don't just regurgitate and go along with.
Well, we've been socially engineered to think that if you disagree with me, you are my enemy.
Yep.
And not everyone has the same mind frame, has the same outlook on life or whatever. But I think when people kind of come to a place where it's like, we can agree to disagree on even fundamental stuff, even like religion and,
Yep.
things like that. I, if you're a lefty or a righty, and, to me, like I've made the mistake of like, oh, everyone on the left is bad. No, they're not. They're just, some people just don't, they might be easier manipulated than people on the right, but there's certainly people on the right that are very much set in their ways and watch Fox News and they think that, that whatever.
Yes. Yep.
But I think when people finally just stop, turn the TV off, which is why I really hope, the whole 10 days of darkness thing that, that 17 operations talked about, I think that will deprogram people where they don't have a television to tell them what to think. And so things in their life will come into focus of what's really important.
Yeah.
What I'm seeing on TV, all these distractions, these things that are fueling the flame of what I believe or my own preconceived conditioning. Once that's gone, it's like taking a drug away from a drug addict where they finally come down and it's like, oh, okay, well,
my mom is going to be 78 pretty soon. I was talking to her last week, and she's one of those people that watches the news every day. She said, I finally shut it off. I just don't even,
wow.
I just turned, because I've told her, I was like, Mom, look, listen, I worked in the media for 9 years. It doesn't matter which channel you're watching. They're all going to tell you some bullshit that doesn't help you in your life at all. And she said she hasn't watched the news for like the last month. And I was like,
That's awesome.
I never thought I'd see the day. And she doesn't like Trump at all. She's one of the people. She's just like, I just don't like him. And I'm like,
and that's fine. Not everyone's going to like him. But here's the thing. People are going to have to realize that you may not like him as a person, and they may have to come to a place where they realize that the only reason why they don't like him is because their TV told them.
Yeah.
But you don't have to like him. But I think it's more so of what did he produce? Yeah. I don't care about mean tweets or if you think he's arrogant or whatever. At the end of the day, you don't have to be around him. I'm not asking you to be around him or be his friend.
Yeah.
But what did he do to help move society in a good direction?
Yeah, absolutely. Here's one of the things I try to put it into perspective for people too. They're like, I don't like all of his name calling and all the drama and all that stuff. And I said, okay, well, you may not like the drama, but there's a large portion of society that can't function without drama in their life, and they won't pay attention unless there is some kind of drama.
It's true.
He's so damn smart that he knows that, so he does it on purpose to keep people's attention. It's like when people watch a soap opera or Spanish, the telenovelas, they get hooked and they can't look away no matter, it's like their addiction. And so for those people, he inserts the drama. If it was just all of us, just, they're like, okay, we want to get to the truth and we want to make things better. He wouldn't do all of that. But
it's not necessarily drama for the sake of drama. Because do you remember, it was like last year he came out with, when he called Ron DeSantis, Ron DeSanctimonious.
Yeah.
And people were just like, oh, like, because at that point, you thought he was going to be the next, you thought DeSantis was going to be up there with Trump, like, okay, give him another year. Yeah. And then DeSantis is going to come in and do the next 4 years, all that kind of stuff. And people are just like, oh, this is going to be the end for him calling out. Really? You're going to do that?
Calling out the guy that got millions of dollars from George Soros?
Fast forward to today, and you're like, wow, he actually was right. Even though people were just like, he didn't care if he lost some people's respect. He's like, I'm going to tell you the truth. Even though you may not know it or see it, you're going to.
Yep.
And I think it was brilliant. I don't know if DeSantis is in on this whole thing or not. All I know is this. I am so glad that however many people are running against Trump. And the reason why I say that is because there's so much money that is being poured in, like all these big super PACs and everything, all the uniparty, that they're wasting all their money. For one thing, they're wasting all their money pouring into candidates that aren't going to go anywhere. So all that money that they poured in, that they're losing money. So that can't be poured into someone else.
Yep.
And second, if there was no one else that was running against Trump, people wouldn't see how well he's even beating his own party's people that are running against him. You know what I mean? Like they would have no contrast whatsoever to know that, Trump is actually, gaining popularity.
Yep.
Because all they would see is, okay, now it's just a matter of rematch of Biden and Trump. But seeing him even dominate the field in his own party to the point where he's just like 40, 50 points ahead of all of them combined, people wouldn't realize just how much of an impact he's made in society right now.
Correct.
So I'm glad they're all running, to be honest.
Oh yeah, yeah, and a lot of them I think are running just for the simple fact that if anybody goes after them for what they are complicit or what they're guilty of doing, all they have to do is be like, well, it's presidential or it's election interference. You're trying to keep me out of the election. It has nothing to do with A, B, C, D, E, F, G things that I've done back here. You just want to keep me out of the election.
Which doesn't work anymore because they've set the stage where look, it doesn't matter if you're running or not because Trump's running and they want to put him in prison. They want to, it used to be back in the day, if you ran for office, they couldn't touch you because you're running for office, which is why a lot of them want to run for office. Because like you said, you could be like, oh, I've got immunity because I'm running. That's not the case anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I mean, this is off subject too, but I talk about FISA a lot, the unconstitutional court that should not exist, where you don't know who's charged you or you have no due process. I would bet, I would, not that I have much to bet, I'd almost bet my life that that's how they targeted Trump through the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court,
sure.
FISA Section 702. I mean, it seems completely obvious to me, the same way they went after General Flynn. They rubber stamp it. Obama appointed like 10 of the 11 judges in the FISA court, so he loaded that thing up with people that'll just.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Whatever they wanted.
And I mean, they've got unlimited capital in that thing.
Yep.
And that's pretty much how they went after him. I was just a thought that popped in my head. I don't know. So,
well, didn't 17 talked about that? I thought that FISA works both ways, where they can come back to the FISA judges and say, hey, we have you on all these things. You're kind of screwed. So we're going to have you. It's the opposite of blackmail. It's whitemail, where the White House comes to these people and say, yeah, we know what you've done. You need to work for us or need to do what we're telling you now.
And if the FISA court was taken up, and I think it may have been, at least partially. I'm not sure how to explain this. So I noticed a significant difference in my day-to-day experiences. And I get comms all the time from the bad guys, and those are usually threats or some kind of attack against me, but I also get comms from the white hats. And it's done in a very strategic way to where no one would ever, one, believe you, or two, be able to figure out how you're getting this information. It's not somebody that just walks up to you and like, hey, this is what's going on. But basically,
they can't.
I got told FISA flipped. And that's the whole thing that has to do with FISA goes both ways. So this whole program, surveillance, targeting program thing, in all my experiences through the military and everything that I've ever done in my life, it's literally the most impressive thing that I've ever seen or witnessed in my entire life. It's got to be run by AI. But I do believe that actually happened maybe a little bit over a month ago, where the FISA goes both ways.
Mm-hmm.
They got control of it and it's flipped. And it's going to be used for a positive, because if they used this program, these programs that have been used to target us, they spend literally billions, if not trillions of dollars a year on this. And it's a huge cash thing. If they used this program and somebody reprogrammed it to benefit society, we would skyrocket. So many people would benefit, society would grow, people's lives would be happier. They could use it to bring people together instead of tear them apart. They just have to change the coding in it and stuff like that. And I saw an immediate change not too long ago, to where some of the tactics and standard operating procedures have been used for positives in my life and to help me get through some things that I wouldn't have got through.
Nice.
And I think that finally happened. The FISA works both ways thing. They finally accomplished that. And
which is weird. That's during Biden's era, which tells me that Biden really isn't in control.
They're not in control. No. I mean, Trump is. He's the commander in chief of the Constitutional Republic of the United States, which is completely taken over. And the only thing that the corporation is running on is residual supporters and capital. That's all going to be removed via 13818 eventually, but everything takes forever.
Those are just as slow. They roll slow.
Yeah. We at my base, we transitioned from F-16s to F-15s. Just to do that, I mean, that's a pretty big task, to change a whole base over from one platform to another.
Okay.
Right? That took 10 years. Just that. So I try to tell people to put that in perspective. Just to change over a flying platform at one base, at one of the how many ever we have around, that took 10 years for that process to occur. So imagine we're trying to shut down a cabal that has operated for thousands of years and has instilled their control in every aspect of our lives. And it's going to take a little while.
Yeah.
I'm just as impatient as anybody else, maybe more. I want this to all be done tomorrow, and I want to just go sit out on my front porch with some family and some friends, barbecue, and not worry about, how I'm going to make it tomorrow. But yeah, the good things are happening. There is hope. That doesn't mean sit around and just wait for it. Do everything that you can to be proactive and be part of our new existence. That, like you said, that we're never going back to normal. Things are going to be a lot different. But keep going, people. Don't give up. Good things are happening. I've witnessed it firsthand. I've seen it happening over time, and it's a slow process. It's like the ocean changing temperature. It's cold in the summer because the ocean is so big. It takes a long time to change temperature.
Yeah. Well, the thing that kind of reminds me, I don't mean to cut you off, but just to kind of add to what you were saying, is the thing that always helps me in the like when I'm feeling tired, when I'm feeling worn out, and hopefully everyone listening can get what I'm saying. I would much rather be patient and allow things to fully play out than to sacrifice that for a moment of feeling like, because remember when Trump, when he got his mugshot, it was one day where the left was like, we got, like, that momentary satisfaction was not worth what now he's actually even more popular than he was before. I would, every time I get tired or like I just want it over with, I don't want to have that momentary relief or feel like things happen if in the long run they still win.
Yeah, the momentary feeling of gratification. I agree. And I have to tell myself, as much as I try to tell other people, just be patient, man. Just be persistent. Don't give up. Keep moving forward. Do what you need to do in your heart. That's right. And it's not completely over. It's getting better. It's changing, but just be persistent. Never give up, and we'll get there. And it might take the rest of our lives. I hate to even think that. I'd like for just some switch to flip, and then I get to enjoy life. But it might be, and to I think there was a Chinese philosopher, I know it was a Chinese philosopher that said, nothing worth doing can ever be accomplished in one lifetime. And I was like, that sucks, but it's true.
Yeah.
And, I'm not like trying to signal like China, but it was just dude from China, philosopher that said nothing worth accomplishing nothing worth doing can ever be accomplished in one lifetime. And that's deep, and we might be there, and it might be this
have,
is why we were put here, so we can. I mean, it's not always. That's not 100%. There's things that are worth doing.
well, no, what I'm thinking is we have a window. Honestly, we always talk about timelines and how we wish, I don't think this is going to be the rest of our life. I don't think it's even going to be past 2024, to be honest with you. They have a certain window. Because the thing is, if the good guys don't win, I think people need to understand this. If the good guys don't win and we end up failing, what's going to happen? The Cabal is actually going to fortify all the things that they didn't see, which allowed the white hats to infiltrate, to conquer, to break down. All they're going to do, if we fail at this, if the white hats fail at this, they're going to fortify everything and we're screwed.
Yep.
There's a certain window that that they have to do it by.
Yep. I was just going to say, if we think it's bad now, oh my goodness, then a lot of people will get to experience what I have, because what I've been through was basically like a beta test of what they want to do to everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, if Hillary Clinton had gotten in the White House, that's what would have happened.
I wouldn't be alive, I'll tell you that.
No, a lot of people wouldn't.
Guarantee it. Yeah. And that goes back, we won't get into this, but that goes back to my childhood. I have some wild stories that go all the way back to, you'd have to flip back through my TikTok channel quite a ways. But this started for me as a child. And I was sent my baby photos, which are on a comp card, which is what they use in Hollywood and entertainment to advertise yourself to movie producers, record producers, stuff like that, to see what you look like, 4 different looks. I was never in a movie. I was never an actor, whatever. But I had one of those comp cards, and those were actually given to me in a manila envelope along with a postcard with Hillary and Bill.
Oh, geez.
And some other presidents. And then I was basically told this is where it started. And as I reverse engineered my life and the Truman Show that I've been subjected to, I took it all the way back to that, and it makes sense. But yeah, I just, people, if you haven't done a deep dive on me, if you have the time, it might help you answer some questions from your own life, and answer some questions of a rabbit hole you haven't gone down. But I've covered it all on my TikTok channel. I've talked about exactly what I'm talking about here on my YouTube channel and stuff like that. It's been a long road. So anyway, enough about me. That stuff really does happen. So, well, man, I'm starting to space out. I'm getting kind of sleepy.
All right.
I have to go.
And you have insulation to do too.
I have insulation. I can't feel my toes right now. It's a little chilly here, so I need to go finish that and
sounds good.
Get some other stuff done. But everybody, if you're not following Brian, how do they look you up on TikTok?
It's Brian L. Drew.
Okay, just
type it in. It should be Brian L. Drew. And then you can see it by my name. I do a podcast, a live stream every Monday and Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Monday and Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, or Central Daylight Time. We changed our daylight time. So 8 p.m. on that. And
that's the 117 Patriot podcast.com. You guys can go to that and they can join, right?
Yeah, and we have chats, so you have me talking, I'm talking in real time. It does save, so you can watch it the next few days or whatever.
Okay.
But we have chats where people can kind of connect with other truthers, other patriots, and everything. So it's a good time. People really enjoy it. So
right on. Do you ever have guests on there? Or is it?
I have. We've actually had the thing where a lot of the 117, we call them 117 family. There's a big backstory with the number. Yep. But so we've had people that actually are some of the OGs from 117 that have followed us through every platform we've been deplatformed from, and we've had them as guests. And I haven't quite figured out like you have with this, where it's like a window next to a window, so it's like me holding a phone up to the microphone, interviewing them. But But no, we've had other people on there, but I have like slides and videos, and it's not just you seeing my mug talk for an hour. So
right on. All right, so y'all go check that out, and then you can find Brian at TikTok, Brian L. Drew.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main reason I wanted to do this show. More people need to listen to real journalists, and this is one right here. So
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
No, I have this defect where I'm kindergarten honest. So I'll tell you exactly how I feel, whether it's positive or negative.
Good. We need more of that.
And no, I really appreciate you, man, and I appreciate you helping me get back to doing some YouTube. Maybe you kind of like lit the kick started.
I hope so, because I love your content, man. You've interviewed some really awesome people, and I would say keep going.
Thank you, man. I will do my best. I'll do all I can do that I can manage. So, all right, everybody. I'm sorry we didn't go into the comments and answer. There wasn't a lot of questions. There was more like positive reinforcement. There was one troll that was trying to distract.
You're going to get that, yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I'm actually disappointed there weren't more. I feel weird. Like
step up your game, man. Seriously.
Yeah, where'd they all go? Maybe they got shut down, or they don't get gift cards anymore for doing their thing. We can talk about the gift card thing another time.
Yep.
So, all right, man. Well, have a great day. Thanks for being my guest on here. And is there anything like closing statement or anything something you forgot to say or you wanted to say? Or
no, I think we're good. I appreciate you having me on, and hopefully we'll do this again sometime.
All right, buddy. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right. See ya.
All right, bud.